ready to dive into a chilling tale to end the year. Brace yourself. This one will stay with you long after the countdown ends.
The countdown was just minutes away. Samantha's apartment shimmered with string lights, muffled music bouncing off thin walls, and laughter filling the air. It was the perfect New Year's Eve party, except for the nervous way Samantha kept checking her phone. 6 years ago, on this very night, her best friend Julia had disappeared after leaving a similar celebration. Samantha could never forget the last message Julia sent her at 11:59 p.m.
I'm here, but I don't know where. Please come find me.
The police never solved the case. And yet, every New Year's Eve since, at the stroke of midnight, Samantha's phone would ring. The number was always unknown. The call always dropped before she could answer. This year would be no different. Or so she thought. At 11:50 p.m., Samantha retreated to the kitchen, away from the shouting and music. Her phone buzzed in her hand, every notification making her flinch. She tried to shake the feeling of déjà vu. Then, the clock on the wall began to tick oddly, each second dragging longer than it should. At 11:59, the entire room fell into an oppressive silence. The string lights flickered. The laughter and music outside seemed to fade into nothingness. Her phone began to vibrate violently. It was her. Samantha answered, her voice trembling. Julia. On the other end, a heavy, chilling breath broke the silence, followed by a whisper.
Why didn't you come find me?
Before Samantha could respond, the call ended. But this time, something was different. A notification popped up. It was an address. One Samantha recognized instantly. The abandoned building on the edge of town where Julia was last seen. Without hesitation, Samantha grabbed her keys and left, ignoring her friend's confused protests. The streets were eerily empty, the icy wind carrying an unnatural stillness, as though the world was holding its breath for what was to come. When she arrived, the building looked more decrepit than she remembered. Its shattered windows stared back at her like hollow eyes. She gripped her phone tightly, using its light to guide her as she stepped inside. The smell of mold and rot was suffocating. The address led her to the basement. In the darkness, she spotted something strange. An overturned chair and a small pile of partially burned papers. One was intact. It was a photo of her and Julia, taken years ago in that very building. But Samantha's face had been violently scratched out, the marks smeared with what looked like dried blood. Then, faintly, a childlike giggle echoed through the basement. Samantha froze. She wasn't alone. Her instincts screamed to run, but something compelled her to stay. Slowly, she turned toward the corner of the room. A fragile figure emerged from the shadows, its outline twisted and unnerving. Samantha's breath caught as she recognized the shirt Julia had worn the night she vanished. "Julia," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You finally came," the figure replied, a mixture of sorrow and fury in its tone. "But now it's too late." The phone's light flickered, illuminating Julia's face, or what was left of it. Her skin was a sickly green, her eyes sunken, and her lips stretched into a stitched, unnatural smile. Before Samantha could scream, the figure lunged toward her. When Samantha's friends noticed her absence, it was well past 3 a.m. She never returned to the party, and her car was found abandoned near the decrepit building. Police searched the premises, but the basement was empty, except for the overturned chair and the pile of charred papers. The next night, another unknown number called one of Samantha's friends. This time, the message was different.
You didn't come for me either. Now it's your turn.